A visitor stands frozen in an American public bathroom, his gaze fixed on the gap between stall doors, a space so wide he can barely comprehend its purpose. This is just the beginning of a long list of everyday practices from America that seem utterly bizarre to outsiders. Before the first one, the deal. 15 habits. After each one you decide, is the world right? Or does the world just not get it? Type the number of every habit you would defend and the number of every habit you would delete tomorrow. And if you are willing to actually argue about this, hit the like button now, because that is the only reason this video gets shown to anybody at all. You might be surprised to learn that most Americans have never been asked to defend their habits. It's so common, so ingrained, that millions of Americans do it without a second thought. Do you want to know what it is? After each one, we'll ask you to decide, do you agree with the critics, or do you see where they're coming from? This isn't about judging or making enemies. It's about understanding. Which number will you stand by when the time comes? What habit will you side with? Number 1, or something further down the list? The rest of the world has compiled its own list of things Americans do that seem completely insane from afar. This video takes 15 ordinary American habits, each one more perplexing than the last, and challenges you to decide. Are these behaviors truly ridiculous, or does the rest of the world simply not understand? You're about to embark on a journey where each stop reveals something new about America and yourself. After watching each habit unfold, we ask for your verdict. We promise you'll never guess which of these 15 habits tops the charts as the single most complained about thing across the entire country. Which is it? Number 1 on the list? Or are you convinced by what you see? So, which habit will you champion today? The American public restroom stall is a peculiar sight, often a source of curiosity and consternation for international travelers. The hinge area is particularly vulnerable, allowing those who stand outside to see inside without much difficulty, sometimes even in enough detail to discern the occupant's presence. For visitors from Europe, Asia, and Latin America, this first encounter can be quite jarring. Some might blush, others might chuckle awkwardly, but the common thread is that it feels like stepping into someone else's home unannounced. But why has such a seemingly impractical design persisted in a nation renowned for its technological prowess? However, none of these explanations seem to fully account for why a wealthy country would opt for such a setup in its public restrooms. So, here's your chance. Do you find the lack of a closing mechanism on bathroom stall doors ridiculous, or just another quirk of American culture? Which side do you fall on? Let us know in the comments below by answering habit 1. The American public restroom stall door stands open like a silent challenge, its hinges revealing a vertical gap that stretches upwards into the air, a sight foreign visitors often cannot help but notice. The door, barely touching the floor, allows for an unobstructed view through, creating a momentary exposure. In Europe, Asia, and Latin America, where bathroom privacy is more rigidly enforced, such openness can feel jarring. Or a traveler from France might raise an eyebrow, wondering at the lack of effort in concealing what should remain private. Americans, however, have adapted. For many, the gap has become a mundane detail, a part of their daily routine so normalized that it scarcely registers. Yet another reason given is the ability to check on someone inside who may need assistance. None of these reasons fully explain why, despite being one of the world's wealthiest nations, Americans continue this practice. Privacy norms vary widely across cultures, but the gap in the bathroom stall door remains a stark reminder of how differently privacy is perceived here. Do you think this habit warrants criticism, or do you see its practical benefits? As you step into an American living room during winter, a weather forecast plays on the TV. You notice the stark contrast when a neighbor asks for directions and is told the distance to the next town is 7 miles, a unit that might as well be from another planet elsewhere. In the kitchen, where someone is preparing a classic apple pie, the recipe calls for exactly 2 cups of flour. 2 cups. You watch, feeling a bit bewildered, as the baker carefully pours the liquid ingredients, each cup filled with precision. This is one of those moments where the old ways feel deeply ingrained, even if they seem more complicated than necessary. On the road, mile markers stand tall and proud along the highways. A car speeds past, its occupants chatting about driving 55 miles per hour, a speed that sounds so slow to your ears used to kilometers per hour. Here, Everything remains stubbornly in inches, pounds, and gallons, making every day a small adventure in mental arithmetic. These habits reveal something profound. America, being a nation both large enough and self-contained enough, never felt the urgency to adapt to what others consider standard practices. It's practical for some, but utterly foreign to visitors who must constantly recalibrate their senses. Is this just a relic of history, or does it serve an important purpose? Does it make sense to maintain such unique measures, or are we better off aligning with global standards? Would it make your life simpler, or more complex? Which of these habits do you find truly insane? Habit 2. In the United States, temperatures are read aloud as if they were speaking in a foreign language. This system causes confusion for many international visitors who are used to the metric system. Recipes in America are written with cups instead of grams, making it difficult for those who are accustomed to precise measurements. Imagine trying to measure exactly how much sugar that is when all you have is a kitchen scale unfamiliar with customary units. Road signs throughout much of the country display distances in miles rather than kilometers. To someone from Europe or Asia, this can feel disorienting and adds an extra layer of cognitive load to navigation. A person described as being 6 feet 2 inches tall is commonplace, yet this measurement format baffles non-Americans. Such differences underscore a culture deeply rooted in its own units of measurement, resistant to change despite the global shift towards the metric system. This peculiar resistance reveals a country large enough and self-contained enough to maintain unique standards. How do you view these habits? Is the American way more practical, or is there room for improvement? As the visitor from abroad stepped into another American establishment, they found themselves puzzled once more by a seemingly simple piece of information, dates written in a way that appeared contradictory to their expectations. The confusion arose when these dates appeared on tickets, forms, and expiry labels. This difference in notation was not just limited to writing. Even how Americans spoke about dates provided further insight. In casual conversation, Americans would pronounce such a date as April 3. This practice highlighted a unique aspect of American culture, their tendency to align written conventions with everyday speech patterns, rather than adhering strictly to international standards. This habit revealed a lot about how Americans view practicality versus conformity. While some saw it as a cumbersome inconsistency, others appreciated its simplicity and directness. Which perspective do you find fair? Share your thoughts in the comments below using only the number of this habit. 3. The story continues with another cultural quirk, one that many visitors find peculiar upon entering an American home. Shoes are often left on inside. Quick check. For down, how many of those 4 did you defend, and how many did you throw out? Put your score in the comments right now, before you forget, and tap like if you have disagreed with me at least once so far. Honestly, disagreeing is the point. For those accustomed to removing footwear before entering a building, this can be quite a shock. Imagine you're stepping into an American home for the first time. You enter through the front door, and there it is, a pair of muddy sneakers or boots right by the entrance. Yet, for Americans, leaving shoes on indoors is part of daily life and not seen as unhygienic or rude. Americans argue that their carpets are regularly cleaned, and vacuuming removes any dirt or dust. Furthermore, they see shoes as an essential part of personal grooming. Stepping out of them at the door might seem like overkill in many situations. This habit reveals something deeper about how Americans perceive public versus private spaces. Homes are seen as extensions of oneself, and often, people do not feel the need to separate themselves so thoroughly when entering a familiar space. So what do you think? Is keeping your shoes on inside just a cultural oddity, or is there a practical benefit to this practice? In every corner of America, you might find drive-through windows waiting to serve you. Whether it's coffee from dawn until dusk, banking transactions, or prescriptions picked up under the bright lights, these ubiquitous structures have become integral parts of daily life. Pharmacies too offer their services through drive-thrus, with pharmacists checking prescriptions while drivers wait with open windows. Americans see this convenience not just as a service, but almost as a right. The car has become an extension of the body. Stepping out is often seen as unnecessary. It's a trade-off between the contact and speed that defines American culture today. How do you feel about driving through everything? Is this a sign of progress or a loss of connection? Visitors from abroad often scratch their heads when they see dates written in a format like March 4th. This ambiguity can be particularly vexing on tickets, forms, and expiry labels where seconds matter. Consider a ticket for a music festival. The confusion arises because Americans naturally speak dates as if reading them aloud, leading to potential misunderstandings. This habit reflects a country that writes dates the way it talks, with the month preceding the day. How do you view this practice? Share your thoughts in the comments below with the number of today's habit. The enormous yellow school bus has become a ubiquitous sight across America's highways. This simple, yet dramatic gesture compels traffic in both directions to come to a complete standstill. Visitors to America often read this rule as either beautiful or absurd. The fact remains, no matter your perspective, you can't help but notice the school bus and its swinging stop sign dominating the landscape. What does this reveal about a nation willing to rebuild its entire traffic law around the needs of its youngest citizens? Does it speak to a society deeply invested in the welfare of its youth, or does it simply highlight an outdated and cumbersome regulatory approach? Think about what you believe. Does this habit reflect a progressive mindset or an unnecessary inconvenience? Share your thoughts in the comments below by answering which habit number this is for you. Wandering from the street into an American living room, you might find your feet leading where your mind hasn't yet gone into a carpeted haven without stopping at the threshold. The quiet horror this can induce is palpable, a stark contrast to the seamless transition many Americans take for granted. Americans argue that shoes stay on indoors because their homes are meticulously cleaned. This practice reveals a boundary between public and private spaces that is more fluid in America than in some other cultures. The ease with which Americans step across this threshold speaks to their casual approach to privacy and social norms. It's part of a broader pattern of straightforwardness and inclusiveness that they extend into the home environment. Do you see yourself stepping across this line? Share your thoughts in the comments using the number 4. You step into a parking lot on a Friday afternoon, and what strikes you first is the sheer scale of the American pickup truck. You can barely see over their beds, and when one pulls up beside you at a traffic light, its massive frame dwarfs your car. These trucks are everywhere, and most of them remain glorified storage units, rarely used for anything more substantial than groceries or perhaps a weekend grill. You watch in bemusement as a woman drives her fully equipped truck past, only to retrieve a few bags from the tailgate. Surely, she could have fit those inside like anyone else would. The size isn't just about utility, it's an identity statement. It's a declaration of who you are and where you stand. In America, these trucks aren't just vehicles, they're symbols. The truck becomes a status symbol, a badge of pride, and sometimes even a second home. In this land of vast distances and expansive landscapes, the pickup truck isn't just a mode of transport, it's a part of the American ethos. Yet, to some critics abroad, it might seem wasteful, unnecessary, and a prime example of excess. Do you think the size of the American pickup truck is a testament to personal freedom and practicality, or does it represent unbridled consumption? You step out of your car, ready to grab a quick coffee as you drive by your local cafe. This is just another day in America, where the drive-thru has become a ubiquitous feature in everyday life. Drive-thru banks allow you to deposit checks or withdraw cash without setting foot inside. In fact, some Americans can complete entire errands filling their tank, buying groceries, picking up medicine, even going to the doctor, all while staying behind the wheel. These habits reveal much about how convenience is treated as a right in this country. Cars have become not just transportation tools but extensions of one's body, allowing people to maintain control over every moment. The trade-off seems clear. The price of speed and efficiency might be less direct human interaction. Do you appreciate the convenience so much that you wouldn't want to change anything? Which number does this habit belong to? Approaching the kitchen area, you might be greeted by an imposing sight: 2 refrigerators, one inside and another in the garage. Even more impressive are the second refrigerator located in the garage, reserved for seasonal items or extra freezer space. The size of these fridges speaks volumes about the habits of the people who live here. This approach reveals a distance from the nearest grocery store, often several blocks away, where the time saved on frequent trips isn't necessarily valued as much as having ample stock at home. Storage serves as security, ensuring there's always something to fall back on. The abundance of canned goods, pre-packaged foods, and preserved fruits and vegetables points to a way of life prepared for anything, even if that means sacrificing freshness. These giant refrigerators embody the American concept of practicality and readiness, yet they could equally symbolize a lifestyle less attuned to nature's rhythms. Or does it come at a cost to personal health and environmental sustainability? Which habit do you find most intriguing or perplexing? Share your thoughts in the comments below by answering Habit 8. In the vast landscape of America, there stands another icon of its unique culture, the enormous yellow school bus. As the bus pulls to a halt, a momentary silence descends upon the traffic, as vehicles from both directions come to a complete standstill. Visitors from other parts of the world often find this rule absurd or beautiful, depending on their perspective. It's not just about the bus, but an intricate web of laws and public behavior that revolves around protecting these young citizens. As you observe this scene, what do you think? Is this a beautiful commitment to safety, or an overreaction to the potential risks faced by children? Pick your side and share your thoughts in the comments below with the number 6 for this habit. Halfway. And here is the uncomfortable question. If you are American, how many of these had you genuinely never thought about until a foreigner pointed at it? Be honest in the comments. If you are not American, tell me which one you could never live with. And leave a like, because the comment section on this one is going to be a fight worth having. Approaching the kitchen sink, you notice a device that almost seems alien to visitors from abroad, the garbage disposal. This machine is nearly unknown outside North America, making its presence jarring for newcomers. In other parts of the world, disposing of food waste means peeling off layers of packaging, filling bins, or composting. The noise, like a distant, muffled drill, often catches people off guard, causing them to jump or even cover their ears temporarily. The garbage disposal reflects broader American attitudes towards convenience and efficiency. By pushing waste into the pipes, it hides the reality of consumption, turning inconvenience into oblivion. How do you view this practice? Join the conversation in the comments and let us know which habit you believe is the most insane, this one, or any other we've discussed so far. In a parking lot, you might find a pickup truck as large as it is intimidating, parked side by side with smaller vehicles. At a traffic light, these behemoths often take up 2 lanes, blocking the flow of other drivers, yet they sit idle, never carrying anything heavier than groceries. The sheer size of these trucks reveals much more than just practicality. Cheap fuel, wide roads, and the promise of open landscapes all contribute to this culture where a car can be seen as a status symbol rather than just transportation. You see a family walking hand in hand, and next to them stands a pickup truck so big it could be mistaken for a small building. For many Americans, the truck is more than just a vehicle, it's a piece of their everyday narrative. So, do you think the enormous size of American pickup trucks speaks more about practical needs or personal identity? In many neighborhoods across America, the tumble dryer is the undisputed king of laundry. This habit stands in stark contrast to much of the world, where clothes hang outside to bask in the sunlight. The reasoning behind this practice often lies in convenience and time management. Moreover, cleanliness has become a rule of appearance, with lint-free machines seen as a symbol of domestic perfection. However, some argue that the reliance on electricity and energy consumption could be better directed elsewhere, especially considering the environmental impact of constant usage. Many houses boast these large, gleaming dryers, consuming significant power to keep everything spotless and tidy at all times. Do you believe tidiness should come at the cost of energy? In America, the refrigerator is often as big as a wardrobe, sometimes even larger. A second fridge can be found in the garage, doubling as storage for outdoor activities, think lawnmower engines and garden tools. The weekly shop is a cartload affair, not a handful of bags. It also serves as security. Keeping supplies on hand ensures you won't run out if there's a power outage or unexpected weather event. A culture built on stocking up rather than daily purchases means meals are planned weeks ahead, with the freezer stuffed full. This practice reveals much about the way Americans approach food storage and security, emphasizing preparedness over freshness. Do you think this habit makes sense, or does it lead to waste? Is it a practical solution or a wasteful tradition? The machine that eats food in the sink has become a staple in many American kitchens, but it is almost unknown elsewhere. This device symbolizes how Americans sometimes choose to make an inconvenience disappear rather than face it head-on. In some cultures, disposing of kitchen waste involves more manual effort or composting methods. It's a silent solution to a visible problem, transforming scraps into wastewater that travels unseen through the plumbing. Is this quick fix worth the trade-off? Does the absence of visible waste lead us to take our resources for granted? In neighborhoods across America, a machine hums in nearly every home, the tumble dryer. In many communities, a clothesline is not just discouraged, it can be outright banned by homeowners associations or local ordinances. The choice to hang laundry outside has become a matter of appearance and tidiness, reflecting a broader cultural emphasis on cleanliness over energy efficiency. It speaks to the modern American lifestyle, prioritizing immediate comfort over long-term environmental benefits. Do you agree that time is better spent indoors with appliances doing the work? Or do you believe that hanging clothes out still holds its own charm and practicality? The screen fades from the previous habits to a montage of bustling cityscapes and suburban homes, each punctuated by a sudden pause. Commercial breaks. These are not like the brief advertisements you might see elsewhere. They are lengthy, densely packed with information, designed to catch your attention during a moment of relaxation. In these breaks, a familiar image appears, a smiling family, their faces radiating warmth and health. The viewer watches, bemused, as the commercial rushes through pages of fine print, each word more urgent than the last. This is how medicine advertising works in America, an experience so starkly different almost everywhere else. You cannot buy the advertised medicine without consulting a doctor first, but the message is clear. Every ailment has a solution waiting for you at the corner pharmacy. This peculiar American practice reveals much about a culture that treats its patients as customers, where every symptom has a price tag, and every treatment comes with a detailed checklist. Do you find it reassuring? Or do you wonder if there's too much choice, too many warnings? Which one is habit number 11? As the days grow shorter, the streets begin to transform. An ordinary American neighborhood becomes a battleground for the spirit of holiday competition. Whole front gardens have been converted into scenes, miniature versions of Santa's workshop, Christmas trees glowing under starry skies, and snowmen standing tall, waiting for the first flakes. These decorations serve as stages, not just for personal enjoyment, but for public display. The front garden is no longer just a plot of land. It's become a canvas for creativity and community rivalry. What does this reveal about your country? A culture that thrives on public expression and competition? Pick a side. Number 12 and share your thoughts in the comments. As you walk into any party in America, there is something unmistakable that catches your eye: a single red plastic cup, often sitting alone on a table or countertop. Visitors from other countries are genuinely surprised when they discover that this iconic red cup is real, not just a prop or a costume piece. The red plastic cup reflects a culture deeply rooted in disposability and informality. Americans have no qualms about using cheap, disposable items at social gatherings. These cups, made for one-time use, have found their way into pop culture, becoming synonymous with parties and casual celebrations. Free left. If you have made it this far, you clearly have an opinion, so use it. Drop your single most controversial take about America in the comments, and let the replies come. Hit like on the way. It costs you nothing, and it decides everything for a channel this size. It's interesting to consider what this habit reveals about American attitudes toward waste and convenience. In a world where sustainability is increasingly important, such habits raise questions worth pondering. What do you think about the red plastic cup as an American habit? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know which habit number you're debating. Number 13. As you travel through America's heartland, you might notice a subtle but unmistakable difference. This is not just any sweetness. It's an unexpected burst of flavor that shows up where visitors least expect it: in sliced bread, in bread rolls, and in ordinary savory food like sandwiches. In a bustling cafe, you watch as someone bites into a sandwich. For a moment, they pause, then their eyes widen. It's not just the taste, they are caught off guard by its unexpectedness. Yet this optimization comes with a cost. Critics argue that these practices contribute to health issues and undermine traditional flavors and cooking methods. How do you feel about this? Is this a small price to pay for convenience and longevity? Or does it reflect a deeper concern about American eating habits and health? Consider sharing your thoughts in the comments below with the number 14. In America, the car is more than just a mode of transportation. It's a necessity for teenagers as young as 16. By contrast, drinking alcohol legally requires waiting until one is 21 years old. This stark difference raises questions about how society measures risk and maturity. It looks quite backwards when you compare these two milestones. The American teenager, who can now navigate a 2-ton vehicle with ease, faces restrictions on something as simple as holding a beer. It also underscores the unique role cars play in American life, where they are not merely possessions, but tools for freedom and independence. Does this imbalance trouble you? Is driving at 16 and waiting until 21 to drink alcohol fair? The world is right about some of America's habits, offering a clear lens into societal values and behaviors. For instance, when it comes to over-the-counter medications, the United States leads in accessibility. The argument against this habit is that it could encourage self-medication practices that might be harmful if misused. Another fair criticism is the prevalence of plastic use in American daily life. Should prioritize reusable options more strongly to reduce waste. Additionally, the cultural emphasis on individualism in America can sometimes lead to a lack of community support. This habit of self-reliance can result in social isolation for individuals who need assistance. Particularly in major cities like New York and San Francisco, raises questions about affordability and quality of life. Critics point out that while there are wealthy citizens, not everyone benefits equally from the nation's wealth. So what do you think? Are these habits truly problematic, or are they just part of the unique American experience? Pick a number: 1 for over-the-counter medications, 2 for single-use plastics, 3 for individualism, or 4 for high costs. Share your thoughts in the comments. In the United States, there is a widespread belief among foreigners that Americans are overly individualistic, often to the detriment of community support. This geography shapes American life more than many realize. Take, for example, the concept of the local neighborhood bar. In small towns and rural areas, these establishments serve as communal hubs where locals gather, share stories, and build relationships over generations. These places aren't just selling drinks, they're preserving social bonds. Another area where the world might misunderstand is the accessibility of healthcare services. This might seem risky, but it reflects a culture that values quick action and personal responsibility. During emergencies, speed can save lives, a point not always appreciated by those who might prefer a more controlled approach. Additionally, let's consider the high costs of living in major cities. It's easy to see why outsiders might view this as excessive spending on things like housing and transportation. For instance, the need to commute long distances or live in smaller spaces fosters resourcefulness and efficiency qualities that are celebrated in American culture. Which one do you defend the hardest? Take your pick and tell us in the comments below. Americans notice some things that seem strange when they travel to other countries, reflecting their own unique habits back on them. But in America, that red plastic cup is a familiar sight at parties and gatherings, a symbol so ubiquitous that it's hard to imagine any celebration without one. Another thing that might surprise travelers are the single-use plastics in everyday life. Here, you find yourself using disposable cutlery less because you bring your own reusable options, highlighting how deeply ingrained convenience has become for Americans. Consider the way neighborhoods function. Back home, you'll find many of those same connections built into neighborhood bars, where locals gather before events or after work, fostering a sense of community that transcends national boundaries. These observations can make you wonder what the rest of the world thinks about American habits. Do you think Americans get something wrong about their country? Which of these habits do you think deserve a second look from the outside? Take a moment to reflect and share your thoughts in the comments below with the number of this habit. The vast distances between towns and cities have shaped America's landscape in ways unseen elsewhere. These same forces foster a preference for convenience over ceremony, evident in the proliferation of single-use plastics, cold medicine available without prescription, and holiday decorations becoming an arms race. Consider the red plastic cup, a ubiquitous symbol at parties across America, replacing formal glassware with disposable alternatives. Even the freedom to drive at 16 and drink at 21 speaks to this desire for immediate access and independence, despite the global perception of these freedoms as reckless. Cheap energy, another key factor, fuels this inclination towards efficiency. Similarly, the prevalence of fast food chains serves both taste and time constraints, making every meal quick and readily accessible. Yet, within this pattern lies a paradox. This instinct has created some of the world's most admired inventions and services, yet it can also lead to practices viewed unfavorably by others. Take the case of the individualist ethos, so central to American identity while celebrated for fostering entrepreneurship and personal achievement. It is criticized for neglecting community support networks. Or consider the relentless pursuit of efficiency in daily life, which can come at the cost of ritual and tradition. These forces enormous distance, cheap energy, and a deep preference for convenience are not just driving isolated habits, but shaping an entire culture. Last ask before the verdict. Subscribe if you want the other side of this, because the next one is the reverse list. The American habits the rest of the world quietly started copying. They create the backdrop against which each of these 15 behaviors plays out, often leading observers abroad to see both admiration and criticism. Which do you find more compelling? The logic behind the convenience or the potential drawbacks? Share your thoughts in the comments with the number of the habit that resonates most with you. The final 3 habits stand as the last chapter in our journey through everyday American life, and they challenge us to reflect on the balance between convenience and consequence. Habit number 14, bread that tastes like cake. This trend has turned an essential part of breakfast into something more akin to dessert, making you wonder if Americans are embracing a world where everything can be extra. Habit number 15, drive at 16, drink at 21. At 16, you hit the road with the freedom of a license. The law seems to trust young drivers, but not young adults. Another reminder that rules can vary widely based on what society deems important. These habits might seem like small details to many of us, but they paint a picture of a nation wrestling with its priorities. The world sees these quirks and wonders. Is this the price of progress? Or is there a better way? Now, which ones do you hold dear? Share the numbers of your favorites or the ones you'd rather delete forever. Argue with each other in the comments, because we're all here to learn from each other's perspectives. If any moment of this video changed your mind, give it a thumbs up. Because America isn't just defined by its monuments, it's shaped by every day and every habit. Which number will you pick? So that is the list.